The Ars Goetia is the first section in the 17th century grimoire known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. It details the 72 demons allegedly summoned by King Solomon, each possessing unique capabilities and attributes. Kicking off our list, we have the Grand Marquis of Hell, Andras. Depicted as an angel with either a raven's head or riding a raven, Andras is said to sow discord and can be very dangerous to the unprepared. According to the legend, it takes courage to summon Andras, since he will test the summoner's courage before appearing. The summoner can be given knowledge of hidden truths, but at a great risk, since he is known to deceive and manipulate. From what we know so far, would you ever try to invoke him? And if so, what precautions would you take? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Andras is often invoked by those seeking revenge or justice, making him a popular choice among dark practitioners. He is also associated with the element of fire and is said to have control over destructive forces. Seen as a demon of war and conflict, Andras is often depicted as riding into battle on a black horse and wielding a sword. Obviously, this solidifies his reputation as a powerful and fearsome entity. As with many demons, there are those who believe Andras can be beneficial if summoned and controlled properly, but it's important to remember the risks involved when dealing with such dark entities. It is always recommended to seek proper guidance and protection before attempting any summoning rituals involving Andras or any other demon. On top of that, Andras is believed to have a special connection with crows and ravens. These birds are often seen as messengers of darkness, which further adds to the ominous aura surrounding Andras. Some also believe that Andras has the power to shapeshift into different forms, making it easier for him to deceive his victims. This ability adds a level of unpredictability and danger when dealing with this demon. Next up, we have Beleth, a powerful and frightening king of hell who commands 85 legions of demons. He is known for his furious and roaring voice, and he rides a pale horse. Beleth is depicted as a soldier wearing red armor with fiery eyes and a fierce countenance. Beleth's name derives from the Canaanite god Baal, which means Lord. He was worshipped by ancient civilizations as a deity of fertility, rain, and storms. However, in Christian demonology, he is seen as one of the most dangerous demons capable of instigating bloody wars and causing destruction. Beleth is also known for his ability to deceive and manipulate humans. He can appear in the form of a man or beast, often taking the shape of a cat, dog, or even an angel. His purpose is to tempt humans into committing sins and leading them astray from their faith. According to demonologists, Beleth can be summoned by those who wish to gain power and control over others. However, it is believed that he will turn against his summoner once his desires are fulfilled. This further emphasizes his treacherous nature and the danger of making deals with demons. He is customarily seen riding a pallid horse, and his presence is often heralded by a cacophony of assorted music. When he appears, his appearance is exceptionally fierce, intended to intimidate the conjurer, testing his courage. And let me tell you, you'd have to be the bravest person on earth to conjure a demon like this one. The one summoning him must exhibit bravery, and while holding a hazel wand, delineate a triangle striking in the directions of the south, east, and upward. Beleth must then be commanded to enter this triangle using specific invocations. If he does not comply, the conjurer must repeat the threats and invocations, after which Beleth will submit and carry out what he is ordered to do. Nevertheless, the conjurer must express respect and pay homage to Beleth due to his status, and hold a silver ring on the middle finger of the left hand against his face in accordance with the traditions of infernal kings and princes preceding Maimon. And our runner-up is Paimon, a demon king who is incredibly obedient to Lucifer. Paimon is known to grant many wishes, and his presence is always marked by loud music. When you think of a demon, you immediately imagine something horrendous looking, right? But don't be fooled by Paimon. This demon is portrayed as a strikingly handsome man, adorned with a crown of great value astride a dromedary. Sounds too good to be a demon, right? Frequently, a procession of demons and ghouls bearing a humanoid form precedes him, creating music with various instruments such as trumpets and cymbals. Upon arrival, he greets with a thunderous voice, booming and roaring for some time until the summoner gains control. Paimon's control over sound is not merely for show, but it also serves a purpose. In demonology, Paimon is often associated with divination and the ability to reveal hidden knowledge. His loud music and booming voice are believed to serve as a medium for communication communication between the human world and the spiritual realm. This makes him a valuable ally for those seeking answers or guidance from beyond. Paimon's role as a demon king also grants him immense power and authority among other demons. He is often depicted as having the ability to control and command legions of demonic entities, making him a formidable force in the supernatural world. Despite being portrayed as a powerful and intimidating figure, Paimon is said to be incredibly obedient to Lucifer and often acts as his messenger, carrying out his orders without question. This further solidifies his reputation as a loyal and trustworthy demon. Paimon's portrayal as a handsome, charming figure, coupled with his abilities and loyalty, has made him a popular character in literature, films, and other forms of media. He's often seen as a symbol of temptation and the dangers of seeking power and knowledge from dark forces. However, it should be noted that Paimon is still a demon, with all the malevolent intentions and desires that come with it. While he may grant wishes and reveal hidden knowledge, his ultimate goal is to corrupt and tempt humans into serving him and ultimately falling under the influence of Lucifer.
Coming in at number 3, we've got Legion. One person can be many things, but in this case, one demon is actually many demons. And these demons were so nasty, so evil, that Jesus himself had to exorcise them. Holy smokes, right? Legion is quite popular in the pop culture pantheon, and many famous exorcisms and related events seem to use him as the prime example. With so many demons dwelling within one main demonic form, they can take over the souls of people relatively easily and with varied results. However, all of the demons that make up Legion act as a sort of hive mind. They all have the same knowledge, thoughts, and reactions to things, and if one demon from the collective experiences something, they're all aware of it. With all of that knowledge and the ability to spread out all over the place, Legion can be a terrifying adversary. And even though Jesus does manage to send Legion back to hell in the Bible, there isn't much guaranteeing that many parts of Legion can't come back. Most folks only experience Legion as individual parts too. This is when the demon is at its weakest, as each individual piece of the whole only holds so much power. Were Legion to assemble all of the many together, we could be in trouble. Imagine all the limbs. Coming in at number 2, we've got Vetis. Corruption. Such a classic human form of folly. We work so hard to avoid it and even do our best to prop up those who remain pure of heart and purpose, but corruption spreads pretty much no matter what. We can thank Vetis for that. Second in command to Lucifer himself, this is the demon who wants to tempt holy people away from their chosen path. Even the most pious has a chance of being drawn in by this demon. He works very hard at figuring out people's deepest desires and then encouraging them to pervert everything they believe in to achieve said goals. Oftentimes these desires are less than socially acceptable, and at worst they can be quite taboo. Does Vetis care that he's ruining lives? Probably not. He takes on different forms to be extra convincing and makes sure to really sweeten the deal whenever he can. However, there is a way you can tell if Vetis is trying to tempt you. He only speaks in rhyme. Interesting, right? Hold on, there's a form of communication that almost exclusively communicates in rhyme and tells people to act in all sorts of wild and depraved ways. Music! Pop music specifically, but hey. Do you think that Vetis is communicating with modern folks through the tunes we so often hear on the radio, telling us to consume, to cavort, to consummate? That's insidious. And finally at number 1, we've got Beelzebub. Speaking of music, how many songs explicitly reference Beelzebub? I can think of 2 right now, Bohemian Rhapsody and Beelzebos. I'm sure there are plenty more, but you can drop those in the comments. As you do that, I'll continue on my way talking about this demon. Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, the devil, but also maybe not the devil. There's so much to say about this particular demon and so little time in which to do it. I'll see what I can do with what we've got today. So the Lord of the Flies may be associated with literature read in schools these days, but back before we had a tale of British boys losing their minds on an island, that association with insects was filthy. Ruling over flies meant you had domain over demonic excrement and rot. Not a good thing, right? Throughout history, people have blamed Beelzebub for all sorts of things. He was closely associated with the Salem witch trials and cited often when folks were put to death. Plus, years after that was called off, he was again referenced in many exorcisms, both infamous and unknown. All of this pales in comparison to his actual standing in hell though, where he is known as the Prince of Demons, and rules over the other basement dwellers with an iron fist. His ultimate goal is to destroy the world, and it seems as though he's been planning this for ages, tricking people into worshipping false idols, commanding other infernal beings, and sowing seeds of discontent. Nobody's doing it quite like Beelzebub. I'd recommend learning a song wicked enough to defeat the devil, otherwise you're probably ending up going down to hell with him. Boy oh boy, for a book meant to instill and reinforce faith, there sure are a lot of trials and tribulations, monsters monsters and mayhem. Hopefully you discovered something cool though.
Jumping in at number 5, we have Belial. Belial, whose name in Hebrew literally translates to worthless or yokeless, was canonized as the leader of the Sons of Darkness in the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you didn't know, the Dead Sea Scrolls are an ancient Jewish text discovered in 1947, which are believed to have been written before 400 BC and refer to a wide host of demonic beings. Seriously, it's spooky how much they name drop them. In these scrolls, Belial is described as both the King of Evil and the Prince of Darkness, which has led many to believe that Belial is a pseudonym of the devil himself. Belial is also known as the Lord of Lies and the Master of Deceit. Many texts refer to Belial as a devious figure who utilizes fornication, wealth, and pollution of the sanctuary to get exactly what he wants. However, in the Satanic Bible, Belial's name is suggested to translate as without a master and symbolizes independence, self-sufficiency, and personal accomplishment. It begs the question, whose side is Belial really on? Coming up at number 4, we have Sergat. In Latin, Sergat literally translates to rise and is the physical manifestation of rebellion and opposition. His angelic opposite is Aquiel. To be honest, Sergat is a minor demon and is pretty weak sauce compared to some of the guys on this list. But the thing that makes him pretty terrifying is his brush with a particular pope. Written between 1150 and 1227, the Grimoire of Honorius was written by Pope Honorius III with the intention of being specifically used by a priest. Pope Honorius was obsessed with the thought of Satan invading the mortal realm, and so began preparing the Catholic Church for a war. He wrote down his findings in this forgotten grimoire, which wasn't unearthed until 1760. Honorius began his training by purposefully summoning demons, and then banishing them again in a sort of weird, spooky, demonic boxing session. It proved quite effective, and the Pope soon started to get a handle on the armies of hell. He'd write down the name of each demon he fought and leave an elaborate explanation of their strengths and weaknesses. Kind of like a Pokédex, but for demons. That is until he came face to face with Sergat. All that was written in his section of the grimoire was that Sergat is he who opens all locks. That was the last demon that Pope Honorius noted down in his book. Makes you wonder what happened, eh? Next up at number 3, we have the Great Duke of Hell, Berith. Also referred to as Baal Berith, this guy is a pretty formidable dude. Known in the Infernal Dictionary as the Great Duke of Hell, Berith commands 26 legions of demons and is a pretty big player in the fiery depths below. According to Aleister Crowley's illustrated Goetia, those that attempt to speak with Berith soon learn that he's a formidable liar. Crowley refers to him as speaking with a clear and subtle voice, and is a liar when not answering questions. To speak with Berith, the conjurer must wear a silver ring and hold it clearly to their face in respect to the Great Duke. If not, Berith will consume the conjurer for not sincerely paying their respects. Berith is often depicted as a soldier, dressed in red clothes, riding a red horse and wearing a golden crown. His main function is to corrupt those that crave power, and is often found lingering on both sides of a war. In 1612, a nun from Aix-en-Provence was possessed by Berith. During the exorcism, Berith gave up his own name, as well as the names of all the other demons possessing her, but also the names of the saints who would be most effective in opposing them. That guy loves a good fight.
In at 5, Abyzou. From Jewish mythology, we have Abyzou, also known as Abyzou, Obuzah, Obezouth, and Bizo. This demon is infertile and, well, pretty pissed off about that. Her sole purpose is to seek out pregnant women, possess them, causing miscarriages and stillbirths, purely out of bitterness and jealousy due to not being able to bear a child. She's quite the asshole. Even worse, she's described as having scale and snake-like qualities. No thank you. In at 4, Vapula. In Christianity, Vapula is the Duke of Hell and a high commander of various legions of demons. He is an incredibly intelligent demon and well versed in philosophy, so if you find yourself suddenly struck with unexplainable knowledge, you may just be possessed by this little devil. His favourite pastime is paranoia. That's right, he will turn loved ones against loved ones in order to watch humanity burn around him and draw the sinful into the depths of the underworld. In at 3, Jikininki. This demon appears in Japanese Buddhist mythology and is known as Jikininki. It comes from the spirits of those who are, I quote, greedy, selfish and ungodly. Jikininki are caused to spend eternity feeding feeding on the flesh of human corpses. Sounds fun. Now, the thing that makes these creatures truly terrifying is that they are just downright miserable and will stop at nothing to take innocent people down with them. In order to do that, they make a person's life a complete and utter living hell, so that they don't have to suffer alone. It's kinda sad when you think about it. Coming in at number 2, Bathsheba. Bathsheba Sherman is the main antagonist of The Conjuring, which is loosely based on the true story of the haunting in Harrisville, Rhode Island. She is the evil spectre of an 1800s devil worshipper and witch. An interesting fact before we begin, despite being a female, she was portrayed by Joseph Becerra, who also played the lipstick-faced demon in Insidious and the demon in the prequel film Annabelle. Bathsheba is a malevolent, sadistic, and murderous demon who haunts the Perron household. She is bloodthirsty, unsympathetic, remorseless, and uncaring or cruel. Along the way, she possesses the mother of the Perron family, turning her against her family and her children. She is vengeful, targeting any family that would take her land, and also the Warrens who attempted to investigate the land, leading to Bathsheba attempting to murder their daughter. Prior to haunting the Perron family, she was an enthusiastic and fanatical follower of Satanism, which led her to sacrifice her own child to Satan and was willing to die for his beliefs. To quote Carolyn and Lorraine in The Conjuring, "How could a mother kill her own child? It was never a child to her. She just used her God-given gift as the ultimate offense against him." Bathsheba claps, stabs, and screams, making her one of the scariest villains in the Conjuring universe. And finally, coming in at number 1, Valak the Nun. To quote Lorraine Warren in The Conjuring 2, "Your name gives me dominion over you, demon, and I do know your name. You are Valak the Defiler, the profane, the Marquis of Snakes. In the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, I condemn you back to hell." Valak is the main antagonist of the Conjuring franchise, first appearing as the main antagonist in The Conjuring 2 back in 2016. The film was directed by James Wan and follows Ed and Lorraine Warren as they travel to Britain to assist the Hodgson's family, who are experiencing poltergeist activity at their Enfield council house in 1977, which later became referred to as the Enfield poltergeist, in real life that is. Now, Valak is absolutely horrific and is a very wicked, ruthless, sadistic, cold, and completely despicable demon who appears in the form of a nun. The demon begins to haunt and terrify the Hodgson's family just for its own twisted pleasure. In turn, Valak is feared by the nuns of the Abbey of St. Carter in Romania. It is spiritually oppressive, taunting Lorraine about her faith. On top of that, Valak is shown to be intelligent, calculated, well organized, and a good mastermind, being able to disguise itself as a nun to not be noticed. Valak has also worked alongside other demons, including Annabelle's spirit. In mythology, Valak is known as the Great President of Hell, with over 30 legions at its command. The demon often manifests as an angelically winged boy riding a two-headed dragon, and it possesses the power to find treasures. In the case of the film, Valak's treasure was the vision of Ed Warren being impaled, which it offered to his wife Lorraine as a gift. So sweet.
Coming in at number 5, we've got Asmodeus. A lot of folks take great issue with some of those classic vices. You know the ones: sex, rock and roll, all plenty of fun, all the bane of Puritans and teetotalers across the globe. If you delve too deeply into any of the above, you could find yourself receiving plenty of disapproving looks. Too bad, considering how much folks tend to enjoy these things. Is it possible to have too much of a good thing? Hard to say, especially these days. Who knows when the good won't be available anymore. However, traditionally folks have looked down upon those consumed by lust, whether it be carnal, money-focused, or otherwise. Thankfully, you can blame a demon for all those urges. Isn't life funny that way? Who made up morality anyways? Why not just explain it all away by saying it's totally out of your control? Beautiful, it makes up for everything. So we've got Asmodeus, the supposed son of Adam, once an angel of harlotry. Of course, his angelic properties aren't really around anymore, as he fell from heaven and now lives as a demon in the underworld. With time, he became more well known for stuff like gambling and lust, and somehow became Lilith's husband, which is fun. The two of them, both labeled temptresses, produced all sorts of demonic babies to keep the fires of hell hot. There's also the famous story of Asmodeus killing 7 husbands in a row to keep one woman from consummating her marriage. Like, every time she got married, Asmodeus would show up and murk her husband before they could do the deed. But then she'd go out and get married again. At some point you think she'd learn and see a pattern and stop feeding her suitors to a demon, but hey, maybe she liked the demonic attention. Asmodeus is pretty wicked looking too. Rocking 3 hideous heads, this demon gets around by riding a dragon. This isn't his only look though, as he can appear as a few other forms to appeal to different types of people. I mentioned gambling before, and anyone with that kind of habit can thank Asmodeus for it. Gotta love it. Lastly, his powers do tend to get stronger in November, so once Halloween wraps up, be on the lookout. Lust might not stick around as easily once everyone puts away their sexy costumes, but hey. Coming at number 4, we've got Abezethibou. Rocking with another fallen angel here, we've got Abezethibou. A little tougher to say and spell, but just as scary and powerful. Raunchy as all hell, too. See, Abezethibou left heaven at the same time as the devil himself and didn't take the fall that well. He used to be a flatterer of God, but once he took that trip to the down below, things got ugly. If you're familiar with the most legendary gaming villain of all time, you'll see some inspiration here. While falling, Abezethibou was used as a life raft of sorts by other fallen angels. They grabbed at his body and managed to take hold of one of his wings. This led to the feathered appendage being torn off, leaving our poor demon to be with only one wing. Eventually it did sort of grow back, but not as it was. Abezethibou is known for having a red, grotesque wing. That's how many recognize this demon. Badass, but probably really upsetting to deal with after many lifetimes of perfect angelic wings. Like I said, once he made it to hell, things went extra south. He rules over Tartarus, which is essentially hell jail. All of the worst reside here, suffering eternal torment in a cage of their own creation. How lovely. Abezethibou also has quite the command of sorcery, able to cast powerful spells and persuade influential figures to act in unholy ways. For these reasons and more, it was decided that this demon could no longer have sway over humanity. Abezethibou was eventually trapped in a pillar of air, meant to be trapped for eternity. Tough break for sure. However, many do believe that Abezethibou will return one day and bring with him thousands of years of fury after being trapped so long. His red wing will unfurl and he will return to his vengeful and cruel ways. Who's excited?
Bringing it up at the rear at number 2, we have Pazuzu. Dating back to ancient Mesopotamia, Pazuzu is the king of the demons of the wind. He is the bearer of storms and the bringer of drought, and is often depicted with the body of a man, the head of a dog, and the talons of an eagle. In the possession case of Roland Doe, the story that inspired The Exorcist, Pazuzu is the chief demon that possesses the boy. He is known to be an incredibly intelligent demon and is renowned for scheming and corrupting the pure of heart. He takes most pleasure though from corrupting the purest of the pure and is often depicted trying to possess children for sport. It is also thought that Pazuzu predates most other demons and is thought to be an Oberith, an ancient evil that manifested itself from the abyss and has been tied to Earth for millions of years. Strangely though, Pazuzu finds reference in a huge number of ancient societies, from Mesopotamia to Sumeria to ancient Babylon. In some, he is revered as a savior and protector, others a demon who should never be summoned. Followers of the Oberith often carve wooden statues of the demon and worship him in the hope that Pazuzu will one day reveal his true name to them. No thanks. And coming in at the top spot, number 1, we have Azazel. Azazel, or Satan, or Lucifer, or the devil, or Baphomet. You know this guy. He's the king of all demonic possession, and he loves nothing more than a group of teenagers standing around a pentagram and beckoning him forward into the mortal realm. The Horn Prince is heavily related to the image of the goat, and we often see him depicted with hooves, horns, and a tail. But this actually has some substance to it. In Abrahamic society, a priest would whisper the prayers of a village into the ears of a goat, and then sacrifice it in the hopes that their prayers would be answered. But in fear of Azazel corrupting the goat, they select an extra goat, often referred to as a scapegoat, and use it as a decoy. They'd then send it out into the desert, hoping they'd wasted a little bit of time for the devil. Now, we all know that's probably not the case. He's a tricky one. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, Azazel is referred to in the Book of Giants and connects him with the story of the fallen angels. In this, he teaches men the art of war and also teaches women the art of witchcraft and painting the body. Generally, Azazel pops up in pretty much every possession story ever, and it's probably wiser just to avoid him altogether. Speak of the devil, and the devil shall appear.
Coming in at number 5, we have the Ferryman. The Ferryman is an antagonist in the Conjuring franchise, specifically appearing in the 2019 film Annabelle Comes Home. Directed by Gary Doberman, the movie follows Judy and her babysitter who are left alone in their house after her parents, Ed and Lorraine Warren, leave to investigate a case. However, an unexpected guest sets Annabelle free, unleashing demonic activity in the house. Now, some backstory to this new character. The Ferryman was first investigated by demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren after after the death of a young girl by its hands. They interviewed those affected by the demon, who told them that the Ferryman demanded a toll, or else it would take the souls of the departed. Ed and Lorraine were able to collect coins from corpses that were cursed by the entity, and had them blessed and locked away in their museum. However, in Annabelle Comes Home, things take a turn for the worse when the Warren's daughter accidentally sets the demon loose, drawing energy and bringing the Ferryman and other spirits to its aid. And honestly, the Ferryman is just downright terrifying. Coming in at number 4, Annabelle. Annabelle the doll, or more specifically the Annabelle demon, is the secondary antagonist of the Conjuring franchise, and also serves as the main antagonist of Annabelle, Annabelle Creation, and Annabelle Comes Home. This is a powerful demonic entity that, despite being able to exist independent, frequently latches onto a porcelain doll to torment those who own it. It is also one of the artifacts taken by Ed and Lorraine Warren during one of their cases. Annabelle is actually considered to be their most dangerous and haunted item, and has a habit of moving around unseen. According to the films, it is said that the doll first became possessed after a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins died from an intended murder. Although she is said to possess the spirit of an actual girl, many demonologists think that it is, in fact, more of an evil spirit than a demon. Annabelle is unbelievably scary, but what is worse is the demon that follows it around. Now, its true demonic form was portrayed by Joseph Becerra, who also portrayed Bathsheba, someone we're going to discuss a little later on. Outside of the Conjuring universe, Annabelle is also mentioned in The Curse of La Llorona. When Ana Tate Garcia goes to ask advice from Father Perez on how to rid her family of La Llorona's curse, he explains that he previously did not believe in the supernatural until he had a run-in with a doll. The movie then flashes back to Annabelle's attack on him. So is The Curse of La Llorona also in the Conjuring universe? That's my question. Am I late to the game? Does everyone know this? I don't know, I don't care. Coming in at number 3, we have The Crooked Man. To quote the lyrics of this creepy nursery rhyme, "There was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house." It's my favourite song. The Crooked Man appears in The Conjuring 2 along with another notable demon that we will be discussing a little later on. He is the spirit from the eponymous English nursery rhyme and is a maniacal, lanky, crooked man who torments the young son of the Hodgson's family. The Crooked Man is also an upcoming horror movie and the 9th installment in the Conjuring universe. In September 2018, it was announced that the movie was in the scripting process and that the studio intends to wait until the story is fully developed before production will begin. And honestly, I for one cannot wait, because The Crooked Man was arguably the best part of The Conjuring 2. Quote me on that. In at number 1, Lamashtu. Sumerian and Mesopotamian mythology describes a demoness named Lamashtu. She is a demon who torments women throughout their pregnancies, and when they give birth, steals the babies so she can chew their bones and drink their blood. Not only does she kill babies, but she is also the destroyer of crops and has a passion for contaminating water and wreaking havoc whenever possible. Forewarning, don't summon this demoness. Those possessed by this entity will suffer horrific nightmares and sleep disturbances and may develop a grave illness that will ultimately kill you. Now, her appearance is what makes this demon truly terrifying. She is depicted as having a hairy body, the head of a lioness, donkey teeth and ears, and bird feet, complete with talons. Lovely. It's even stated that this demon is so terrifying that pregnant women will often summon our previous number in hopes of protection. Not that he does that, he just hates Lamashtu so much that he would likely distract her from destroying you. Coming in at number 5, we have Bughull from Sinister. Sinister was an absolutely terrifying horror movie, and part of that is down to the demon character Bughull. Released in 2012 and directed by Scott Derrickson, Sinister stars the likes of Ethan Hawke, Juliet Rylance, and Vincent D'Onofrio. He's made an appearance on a couple of videos recently. Damn. With the film revolving around a true crime writer, Ellison Oswalt, who discovers Super 8 home movies in the attic of his new home, which contain some truly grisly murders that could potentially put his entire family in danger. Now, Bughull is the main antagonist of the movie and is a pagan deity that would manipulate and kill and consume souls in the process. The Super 8 movies all start out relatively innocent, harmless events, parties, barbecues, pool parties, however they all end the same. The people on the tape all die in grisly ways, and this is at the hands of Bughull, with him being spotted in every single home movie. His appearance is what makes him the most terrifying, with his suit, long black hair, and featureless face, with a mouth that is sealed shut. On top of that, he has the ability to possess through the video footage, making him a terrifying and powerful demon that you do not want to encounter. Before we jump into number 4, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, it really helps us out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. Coming in at number 4, we have Abalam from The Last Exorcism. The
Last Exorcism was a genuinely creepy movie that I think we don't get to discuss enough. Released in 2010 and directed by Daniel Stamm, the film stars Patrick Fabian and Ashley Bell, with it following a disillusioned evangelical minister who decides to participate in a documentary chronicling his final exorcism. However, after receiving a letter from a farmer seeking help driving a demon out of his daughter, he must partake in one last exorcism. The demon within the daughter is Abalam, one of the most unnerving demons depicted on screen in recent years. Now, despite us never seeing Abalam's true form, he possesses the character of Nell throughout, and the acts he forces her to do are absolutely disgusting. With her body contorting, her bones breaking, and violent lash-outs, Abalam is relentless. However, when we have a demon on our hands, you can always guarantee a cult is not far behind, and that's the case here, with Nell being pregnant and being used in a ritual by a cult to bring Abalam to the mortal world, with Nell's brother being involved in the terrifying ritual. The movie was successful, with it resulting in a sequel which was utterly terrible, so skip it. However, The Last Exorcism was a truly effective demonic horror movie, and one that you should definitely seek out. It's found footage done right, with the added bonus of possession. Although saying that I'm telling you to seek it out, this list is about demons you should forget, so seek it out but then forget it. You know? Watch and then move on. Coming in at number 3, we have John Ketchum from the Amityville Horror. I'm going to specifically be discussing the 2005 remake of the Amityville Horror, a movie that I still can't quite decide if I enjoy, although saying that Melissa George does make everything better, and Chloe Grace Moretz just tends to make everything a little bit worse. So, double-edged sword. Not a double-edged sword. It's like a nice edge and then a sharp edge. Directed by Andrew Douglas and starring the likes of Ryan Reynolds, Melissa George, Philip Baker Hall, and Chloe Grace Moretz, The Amityville Horror is the 9th film in the Amityville Horror series, which I had no idea there were that many, but apparently there are. The film follows the Lutz family who move into the house at 412 Ocean Avenue, which of course is incredibly haunted. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed 6 members of his family at the home, in real life, telling the jury that he heard voices telling him to do it. The story is of course infamous, however there could very well be a demonic reasoning for the original killings and the Lutz haunting, with John Ketchum being a name that appears in the book and film versions of the Amityville Horror. According to DeFeo's defense lawyers, he was a man who originally owned the land, however there is little evidence to support this claim. In the 2005 film, there is a cult character by the name of Reverend Jeremiah Ketchum, who is supposedly responsible for the demonic possessions, with his evil actions towards Native Americans in the 17th century being one of the causes of the hauntings in the infamous home. In the film, he cut his own throat as part of a ritual that would allow him to live on forever in the home. This is of course speculation, with claims being made by real-life parapsychologist Hans Holzer.
In at 5, Mammon. In the New Testament of the Bible, Mammon is a fallen angel. His name is thought to mean money, material wealth, or any entity that promises wealth. He's essentially the embodiment of the cardinal sin, greed. Sounds like a swell guy. He is associated with the greedy pursuit of gain. I quote, "You cannot serve both God and Mammon." He is often personified as a deity and is included amongst the 7 princes of hell. According to some readings, he is the son of Lucifer himself, conceived before his father fell from heaven and born after he was sent to hell. Before his fall from grace, I quote, "He was more interested in heaven's golden pavement than its celestial leader. From the underworld he comes up with schemes to manipulate humans into adding to his fortune. He is supposedly so powerful that innocent humans can be corrupted by him, adding to his treasures and fortunes instead of virtues that they can carry up to heaven." In at 4, Abaddon. Abaddon is known as the angel of the bottomless pit, one of the many fallen angels we have on our list. In the New Testament book of Revelation, they are described as the king of an army of locusts, as well as Destroyer, the angel of the abyss. As the king of locusts, he has an army resembling horses with crowned human faces, women's hair, lion's teeth, wings, iron breastplates, and a scorpion stinger. Nasty. Many believe Abaddon to be the Antichrist, but others identify him as the angel as Satan. According to Revelation 9:1-11, after the 5th angel sounds his trumpet, a star falls from heaven and opens the bottomless pit. As a storm of smoke arises, and from the smoke a plague of locusts emerge to torment, but not kill, men who lack the seal of God on their foreheads for 5 months. His origin gets a little hazy, making him appear to be the servant of God, yet also a servant of Satan. Guess it's up to you what you believe. In at 3, Belphegor. Belphegor, along with a few other numbers on our list, is a demon and one of the 7 princes of hell. His powers are of seduction, seducing people with money and inventions, promising endless riches. His role as a demon is to turn humans against each other through means of wealth. He uses our gluttonous desires to drive man to evil, promising fortune in the end. Other reports label him as hell's ambassador to France. odd title, and his adversary is Saint Mary Magdalene, one of the patron saints of France. His origin is that of a fallen angel and a false god that Moses handed down the death penalty for worshipping. He was dispatched to earth by Satan to deceive mortals, often taking the form of a beautiful woman, typically naked. Although sometimes he can appear as a demon, sporting leathery flesh, horns, sharp teeth, and a gaping mouth, ready to destroy mankind.
Coming in at number 2, we have Succubus, Jennifer's Body. Now, despite dividing many, Jennifer's Body is a film that has aged superbly. It garnered a lot of negative attention when it was first released, however many are now changing their tune and apologising for the former criticism and hailing the film as a cult classic and a feminist horror. Released in 2009 and directed by Karen Kusama, Jennifer's Body stars the likes of Megan Fox, Amanda Seyfried and Adam Brody, with it following Jennifer, a teenage girl who was involved in a satanic ritual by a band who want to garner success by making a deal with the devil. However, for the ritual they needed a virgin and Jennifer was not one, which instead resulted in her turning into a demon, specifically a succubus. Jennifer has to feed, resulting in her taking the lives of her fellow classmates, while her best friend is forced to deal with the situation and the monster her best friend has become. Now, a succubus is a demonic sexual predator who seduces men to feed on their flesh and souls in order to garner strength and to survive. This is exactly what goes down in Jennifer's Body, with Jennifer garnering many powers and abilities in the process, including enhanced strength, superhuman speed, immortality, healing factor, infectious bites, flight, seduction, desire, and psychic link. She is incredibly powerful, capable of manipulating everyone around her with the art of seduction. However, she isn't immortal, and we learn this by the end of the movie as she is forced to face off against her best friend. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Bathsheba from The Conjuring. Bathsheba Sherman is the secondary antagonist of the first Conjuring movie and is arguably one of the most terrifying characters to appear in the Conjuring series. Released in 2013 and directed by James Wan, The Conjuring is a supernatural horror movie starring the likes of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are said to have been involved in many famous haunted house cases and possession cases, including the Amityville Horror. The film itself follows the Perron family who move into a farmhouse only to be tormented by disturbing events and ghostly entities, including Bathsheba Sherman. Ed and Lorraine Warren are ultimately called upon to save the family from the demons plaguing their lives. Now, Bathsheba was supposedly born in 1812 and was related to one of the witches executed in the Salem witch trials. 51 years later, she married a rich man and gave birth to her first child. However, after a week, her husband caught her attempting to sacrifice the child to the devil. Sucks. With Bathsheba climbing to the top of a tree, claiming her love for Satan, and cursing all those who would live on her land. She then proceeded to take her own life. Now, when the Perron family moved into the home with their 5 daughters, Bathsheba turned her attention towards them, harming the family's dog and possessing the mother of the family. She is relentless and torments the family mercilessly until the Warrens step in to rid the demon from the home. Do they do?
And finally, in at number 1, Lucifer. In classical mythology, Lucifer, meaning the bringer of light, was the name of the planet Venus, though in many cases Lucifer was represented as a winged child pouring light from a jar, or even a man bearing a torch. Now, in Christianity, as we know, Lucifer became so obsessed with his own beauty and intelligence that he began to desire the honor and power that belonged to God, corrupting him and forcing God to cast him down to the underworld. It is also noted that once he was cast down, he changed his name from Lucifer to Satan, meaning adversary, and following the second coming of Christ, he was bound to the pits of hell during the 1,000-year millennial kingdom over which Christ ruled. All in all, Satan is widely known as the devil himself, an evil entity that seduces humans into sin. He possesses power over the fallen world and a host of various demons. In Judaism, Satan is regarded as an agent subservient to God. There is no answer to whether Lucifer and Satan are 2 separate entities or whether Lucifer's fall from heaven created Satan, but an examination of several passages reveals that he can be none other than Satan, the devil himself.
In 5th place, we have Horus, a Duke of Hell. Granted, he also goes by Floros, Flavros, Horas, or Havres, depending on who you ask. He is a great duke, ruling over 36 legions of spirits, and most commonly appears as a large leopard with a human face and evil eyes. In his human form, he has been known to appear as a male figure with red liquid eyes, body ablaze with flame and other scary features, but also as a tall female figure, and that is slender and flame with flowing red hair. If that appeared in front of me, I'd probably be a little tempted too. Horus tends to be a demon a lot of folks try to summon due to his abilities to answer queries about the past, present, and future, which I know it's tempting. I too would love to know if I'll ever be able to afford to buy a home in this economy, but it's not worth the risk. Ooh! He's able to burn and destroy my enemies? Okay, maybe just like a little summoning just once as a treat. Just like a little list. 2 people. Okay, no, I know better. I don't want to be a bad influence. No demon summoning. When summoning him, if one does not follow the steps to the letter, so specifically invoking the magical triangle properly, he will take every opportunity to trick and lie to whoever is susceptible. He's also a very jealous demon, and not only does he not play well with others, he can be called upon to inflict vengeance on other demons. No, I'm not going to tell you how to summon him. No. Also, for the horoscope girlies like myself, he's a Capricorn. In 4th place, we have Beleth, a Duke of Hell. Sure, he only rules like 10 legions of spirits, but you'll see why in a minute. He's a bit of a busy guy. Something I know I can personally relate to. I swear I don't have a social life anymore. Going also by the monikers of Malifar, Malifar, and Valifar, he is known to appear as a lion with the head of a man, or as a lion with the head of a donkey. Okay, Midsummer's Night Dream, getting those vibes. He is also depicted as being utterly monstrous, with multiple lion limbs, a mighty mouth with a second one underneath, the ears of a donkey, and a devilish tail. No, he's not a Leo, but good guess. He tempts people to steal and is in charge of a good relationship among thieves. Beleth is considered a good familiar by his associates until they get caught in his trap. That's the thing with these demons. Sure, they'll tempt you with what you think you need or what you desire that's impossible for a reason, but I've never heard of a demon acting out of the goodness of their heart. Seriously, have you? They have needs as well, and those include playing with humans like we're their own personal little chess set. And sadly, we'd be only pawns in that game. No powerful queens here. Or so you could think. A goal of his is to collect human greed and manifest it as glittering treasure, while he teaches loyalty and the art of manipulation. Other demons refer to him as a tricky a-hole, so do with that information what you will. Most demons tend to show up, do what's needed, and then buzz off to wherever they need to go next. But Beleth will join you on whatever adventures you go on, even after the original summoning. But you should be careful, because if you're not smart enough or you're a bad sorcerer, he's gonna trick you as well. I'm not shocked. You shouldn't be shocked. He's able to manipulate angels and wizards to commit crimes and steal secrets for his own benefit, and he can use hellfire to dazzle the enemy with blinding explosions or to attack and defend himself. So while watching whoever he perceives as an enemy, he can use combustion to end someone by making them burn alive and create a wall of hellfire on command. Funny enough, he's a Taurus, so happy birthday, you stubborn demonic thing. No, you are not invited to any birthday parties. In 3rd place, we have Vine, an Earl and King of Hell. History isn't quite sure if he rules over 19 or 36 legions of beings, which is pretty dang scary to think about. I'd love a fact check down in the comments if anyone considers themselves more of, an expert. The significance of his name seems to be from the Latin word vinea, vine, which is also the name given to an ancient war machine made of wood and covered with leather and branches used to overthrow walls. In terms of his appearance, once summoned, he will show up resembling a lion and holding a viper in his hands. No, I don't do snakes. If requested to change that appearance, he will present in human form with long black hair, black wings, and now holding a golden cane. Okay, I know there's some people out there who might be attracted to this, visually, guilty, but don't take that as encouragement to summon him. A pretty face is not worth it. Trust me. Known as one of the most difficult demons to summon and work with, he's also one of the only demons who can identify witches and warlocks without being previously informed about their abilities, along with having the ability to tell the past and future. Vine is insensitive to humanity and cares very little for harming those who summon him, making him wildly unpredictable and dangerous to summon, along with having the power to take souls without requiring permission. In terms of abilities, Vine can create or summon hellstorms that fire lightning bolts that will explode or incinerate an intended target. The storms will literally track down the target until the goal is accomplished. He can also create or summon hellfire rains that have the ability to burn a human alive and incinerate them, and they're gonna follow that target until their job is done. Oh, and not just humans. He can manipulate hellfire that's capable of incinerating gods, archons, djinns, and titans. Of course, he's a dang Gemini with, the appearance changing and all. I love my Geminis in my life, but a stereotype is only a stereotype when it's true.
Number 3, the Popobawa. The Popobawa is one of the more recent demonic creatures on this list, with its first sightings being in 1965. The Popobawa is a Zanzibar legend, whose name literally translates to bat wings. This name is not a description of the creature's actual physical form, but rather a description of the large dark shadow that it casts during its attacks. Sightings of the creature have been reported periodically throughout the years in Zanzibar, with stories from the 70s, 80s, and reaching their peak in 1995, before taking a 5-year hiatus, and then being seen again in 2000 and 2007. One of the most popular explanations for this demonic creature is that a sheik man released a jinn in order to get revenge against his neighbors, but soon lost control of the jinn, who took to demonic ways. The Popo Bawa is described as a shapeshifter who takes many different forms, often switching from humanoid to animalistic shapes. It is known for being accompanied by a sulfuric odor, and it tends to visit homesteads at night and on rare occasions during the day. It is indiscriminate in its choice of victims, going from home to home and attacking all members of the family before engaging in physical attacks, poltergeist behavior, and most feared of all, forced sodomy. It then moves on to the next home in the community. Victims of Popo Bawa attacks are often encouraged to come forward with their story in order to get the community protection, in order to avoid repeat visits from the demonic creature. The creature apparently becomes enraged if their existence is denied, and during one incident in 1971 possessed a young girl who then spoke to a group of villagers in a deep man's voice to confirm its existence. If the Popo Bawa really does exist and attacks the people of Zanzibar, then he should obviously be avoided at all costs, as his style of attack would be not only painful and humiliating, but could have long-term effects on the sanity of his victims if he chose to return to make his attacks a consistent issue. This is one demonic force that there is no benefit to tangling with, and should be avoided as much as possible for both your own sake and that of everyone in your community. Number 1. Master Leonard. Who would have thought that someone named Leonard could be frightening? And yet here we are. Leonard is one of the spirits or demons featured in the 1818 demonology text, the Dictionnaire Infernal by Jacques Collin, which describes various demons as well as their hierarchies. Leonard is described as a three-horned goat with the face of a man who uses his horns to initiate his followers and grant them satanic powers. His job title is Grand Master of the Nocturnal Orgies of Demons, which is undeniably an impressive job title. He is known for having banquets thrown in his honor by his followers, where they all consume the flesh of a stillborn goat, which is then eaten without salt and boiled with reptiles in order to depurify the sinless meat. He also has a habit of transforming into a handsome young soldier and luring young women into the wilderness, where he will impregnate them, with all the resulting children being stillborn as an offering to sin. Male followers of Leonard are granted the ability to transform into monstrous animals, or even into the incubi, which we already detailed. What makes Leonard so frightening isn't just his ability to corrupt people, but the idea that his actions directly lead to more demonic creatures that we are unable to effectively fight being created. In order to keep our world as demon-free as possible, Master Leonard and his parties should probably be avoided, no matter how fun some parts of them might seem. With that, another one of our journeys together is complete. I hope that you have come away from this with a greater understanding of the evil forces that are at work in the world, and why it would be unwise to interact with or summon them in any way. Number 5. The Incubus. One of the more taboo evil demons on this list is the Incubus, the male equivalent to a succubus. While a succubus is known for seducing sleeping men in order to impregnate themselves with ghostly children, the incubus comes into a woman's bed while she is asleep and impregnates her. She then carries the baby to term, giving birth to deformed witches, wizards, or demons. Not all of these offspring become evil, however, with the first legend of a wizard being fathered by an incubus actually being the legendary wizard who served King Arthur during the days of Camelot, Merlin. In the late 1400s, demonology text Malleus Maleficarum by the German Catholic clergyman Heinrich Kramer, the author talks about incubi and states that there are 5 ways to get rid of them: moving the afflicted woman to a different location, exorcism, sacramental confession, the sign of the cross, or excommunication of the attacking entity, which even the book itself admits is basically just another term for exorcism. If we are to believe Kramer's account, then incubi seem to be relatively easy demons to get rid of, being subject to all the usual tricks of the exorcist trade, and being able to be shaken by simply moving. But according to the works of the Franciscan friar Ludovico Maria Sinistari, they are much more difficult to deal with than the typical demon, with him saying that an incubus does not obey exorcists, they have no dread of exorcisms, show no reverence for holy things, and at the approach of which they are not in the least overawed. If this is true, then getting rid of an incubus could be a deeply traumatic and maybe even impossible task. Because we do not know which description of their strengths and weaknesses is the more accurate one, it is probably best to simply avoid any situations or rituals that could result in the summoning of an incubus, no matter how long of a dry spell you are dealing with, or how desperate you are becoming. Number 4. Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles, or Mephisto to his friends, is a demon who features prominently in German folklore. Although he has since become somewhat of a stock character, he is primarily known for the role he plays in the Faust legend. The Faust legend is inspired by the life of a real alchemist, astrologer, and magician named Johann Georg Faust, who lived in Germany during the late 1400s and early 1500s. It is unclear how closely Faust's life follows the legend it inspired, but the tale of his interactions with Mephistopheles have been passed down for centuries after his death. In the folk legend, Faust has become depressed with his life as a scholar and tries to take his own life. When the attempt fails, he calls on the devil, hoping to acquire magical powers that will allow him to indulge in all the earthly pleasures he can imagine. The devil then sends his representative, Mephistopheles, to make a deal with Faust. Faust and the demon broker a deal that will make Mephistopheles serve Faust with his powers for a set number of years. When that time is up, Mephisto will claim his soul and take Faust to hell, where he will be punished and forced to serve Satan for all of eternity. Faust uses Mephistopheles for a variety of purposes over the years, most famously to help him seduce a beautiful young maiden named Gretchen, with whom he has a child. When the child is born, Gretchen realizes the baby's unholy nature and throws the child into the waters, causing her to be arrested and executed for murder. Faust is corrupted and realizes his sins are unforgivable, and he is carried away to hell by Mephistopheles. True or not, the Faust legend has become deeply ingrained in culture, and despite the initial benefits Mephistopheles may present you with, he is not worth summoning.
In second place, we have Beleth, the king of Down Under. No, not Australia, you comedians. Hell. Out of today's entire list, he probably commands the most demons. Ready for this? 85 leagues. Personally, I wouldn't be able to handle that kind of responsibility. I'm barely able to command my own life as it is. Similar to Horez, he also goes by a couple of different names, such as Beleth, Beleth, and Beleth. Very fond of alliteration, I see. When summoned, he originally appears as a terrifying dark knight on a horse, is accompanied by a cacophony of music, and presents himself as scary as possible to test the conjurer. If the summoner is not deemed courageous, bad times would be ahead for whatever poor soul tried. Also, and once again, do not summon, but if he decides you are strong enough, he'll be kind to you, but only if the conjurer is holding a hazel wand and draws the summoning triangle to the south, east, and upwards. He's also pretty judgy, so if you look like a slob, all bets are off. Yeah, I feel like I'm out here. While summoning him, one must wear a silver ring on the middle finger of the left hand to protect themselves from his fire-breathing abilities. Speaking of that fiery stuff, his overall abilities include the capability to throw fireballs and hellish explosions from his hand and mouth that can incinerate angels and can create large crimson fire dragon heads, which on impact can, incinerate or explode any opponent. Oh, the pyromaniacs out there want more. Who am I to deny? So Beleth has tried his dang best to emulate holy fire and couldn't recreate it perfectly, but has instead created a light yellow fire that manifests itself from tendrils in the hands and forearms that pierce and burn any target, but keep a soul trapped in the black crystals made with the ash that he can keep as a souvenir. Oh, and he can shoot needles from his hands with the same effects. By the way, any results from this power are irreversible, so unless you want to turn into, Mr. or Mrs. Big Pile of Dust, I'd recommend avoiding that. He can also fire laser-like beams from his hands that are even more powerful than Hellfire, that can and will incinerate anything in its path. Yeah, definitely a Leo. Too much fire not to be. Oh, almost forgot. He's able to create weapons such as swords, daggers, spears, needles, and create blades in his hands. All that fire and the ability to create weapons? No thanks. In first place, we have Bel, one of the kings of Hell. He is the most powerful demon on our list today and commands a grand total of 66 legions of beings. As a treat, because it's first place, I'll do the math for this one. You folks ready for this? He commands anywhere between 198 to 396,000 demons, which is roughly the size of a small city. He is a fallen angel turned demon with the power to make men invisible, and I just shuddered mentally thinking about that. Visually, he's horrific, so I can understand why he would want to be, invisible. Let me guess. You want all the details, right? If I get nightmares tonight, I'm blaming it on this. When summoned, he appears as a creepy monster with 3 heads, one of a frog, another of a cat, and the third is of an older man with pale eyes and strange ears. Oh, that's not scary enough. Okay. So instead of human legs, he has a dozen spider legs. I don't usually describe myself as an arachnophobe, but this visual is terrifying. No thanks! I'll stick to thinking about pretty unicorns and Disney characters so I can maybe get this thing called sleep tonight. Not super familiar with the concept, but I've heard it's a good time. Symbolically, the spider legs represent an ancient symbol of hard work and creation, but also cruelty, greed, and cunning. The frog head is representative of a new beginning and physical wealth, while the cat head is for mental wealth and security. Baal is the lord of storms, winds, and rains, and I'd appreciate it if he could stop with that these days. He's been described as communicating with a very hoarse voice, and it's rude that there are no accounts of anyone offering him a cup of tea during a summoning. If you're listening, almighty demon, I'd highly recommend a honey citrus mint concoction to see if that helps. His special skills include demonic projectiles, which is the ability to mold his power of destruction into many highly mobile spheres capable of eliminating things without a trace and bypasses target's defenses, resulting in apparently minimal damage to the surrounding environment. How, considerate of him? From specifically his human head, he can spew out large amounts of wave-like or tsunami-like magma that can completely eliminate armies and can spit myriads of magma balls that hit many targets individually. From his cat head, he can fire beams that will combust or end anyone. I promise I'm not writing a video game character here, even though he kinda sounds like it. From specifically the frog's head, he has a prehensile tongue that can reach out and catch fleeing opponents and devour them. Oh, and he can vaporize angels. No biggie, right? Yeah, he's definitely an Aries.
Number 5, Pazuzu. Pazuzu would be a demon that would terrify Ed and Lorraine were they to deal with a case involving Pazuzu in real life. Pazuzu is an extremely powerful demon who is the main antagonist of the Exorcist series. The entity plagues Regan McNeil, possessing her and almost fully claiming her. Even though the demon is expelled and Regan's soul is saved, it costs the elder priest who helps her his life and Damien Karras, the younger priest, something far worse, his soul. In the newest chapter of the Exorcist franchise, it appears that Pazuzu may have grown in power, possessing not 1 but 2 girls at once. However, it's also possible that Pazuzu has made a friend or perhaps recruited a fellow demon to join them in their evil plan. But it's been implied and suggested that this is a more synchronized possession where the demon plaguing the 2 girls, whether it is Pazuzu or is not and is just pretending to be, can take hold of both of them at once. We'll have to wait and see if this is actually one entity and if the film marks the return of Pazuzu or not, as Exorcist Believer comes out later this month on October 27th. Pazuzu is one of my worst fears personally. When it comes to the initial Exorcist movie that Pazuzu appeared in as the demon possessing Regan, I was terrified to watch it. I remember going to Halloween movies and us putting on scary films to watch, and for me, Exorcist was always one of the most terrifying, the one that haunted me the most after I left. This was because Pazuzu felt like such a smart and indomitable threat in the first film. This was a demon that refused to be bested even when the cavalry were called in, even when priests who had experience dealing with demonic possession were finding many of their usual tactics basically failed them. And the fact that Pazuzu does harm to its hosts, altering the way that they look, also haunted me. The idea of something living inside you that fundamentally changes you as a person, that's honestly pretty horrifying to me. I have to imagine that despite all their experience working in the field of the supernatural, Pazuzu would still shock and surprise Ed and Lorraine as well. After all, they have dealt with objects that are possessed more often than people being possessed, and not on a level like I would say what Pazuzu does to those it torments. We're talking life or death scenarios here that feel like they're completely out of your control, where people were literally willing to put their lives on the line to defeat Pazuzu because of how dangerous this demon seems.
Number 4, Behemoth. The very mention of this ancient and monstrous entity conjures images of unparalleled terror. The demonology of Ed and Lorraine Warren, Renowned paranormal investigators often delved into the darkest corners of the supernatural, but even they might have shuddered at the thought of confronting Behemoth. Okay, no, not the ride at Canada's Wonderland. I'm talking about the mythological beast that dates back to the beginning of mankind, and whose name is now an adjective, for any large or powerful being. The name Behemoth originated historically from the archaic Jewish name for hippopotamus, and is best described as a beast from the biblical book of Job. He is a form of the primeval chaos monster created by God at the beginning of creation, being paired up with other, chaos monster Leviathan, and according to later Jewish tradition, both would become food for the righteous at the end time. Hey, if I wind up qualifying as righteous, can I just have a funnel cake instead? Once again, not any kind of reference to the theme park. These beings came first, but now I'm kind of in the mood to tackle a roller coaster. In religious and mythological texts, Behemoth is a primeval force, a creature of immense power and malevolence. Its name alone invokes fear, as it's often associated with, chaos, destruction, and chaos on an apocalyptic scale. Described as a colossus monstrous being, Behemoth is often depicted as a grotesque combination of various animals, a nightmarish fusion of strength and ferocity. He is said to take the form of a colossal large elephant with pitch black eyes covered in white scales that appear to be falling off, and has teeth the size of Mount Everest. Its mere presence is said to bring about cataclysmic events, shaking the very foundations of the world. One can only imagine the sense of dread that Ed and Lorraine, who confronted numerous supernatural entities throughout their careers, might have felt in the face of such an ancient and malevolent force. Behemoth represents the embodiment of the darkest aspects of the human psyche, a symbol of the unknown and the terrifying. For the Warrens, who devoted their entire lives to investigating and combating paranormal forces, Behemoth would have been the ultimate challenge, a test of their faith and courage. It is a testament to the depths of their dedication and strength, of their convictions that they were willing to confront such formidable entities in the name of protecting others from the forces of darkness. In the realm of demonology, Behemoth stands as a symbol of the enduring power of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. Its legend serves as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable terror, there are those who are willing to confront and challenge the forces that seek to harm humanity. As, a lot of us contemplate the legend of Behemoth and the fearless pursuit of truth by individuals like Ed and Lorraine, we are reminded that the human spirit has the capacity to confront even the most terrifying of demons, and in doing so, shed light on the mysteries of the supernatural.
Zephyr, the 16th spirit of Ars Goetia, shifted from his angelic roots to one of the distinguished dukes of hell. He embodies the visage of an indistinct soldier garbed in red armor and attire. His infernal responsibilities revolve around love, lust, and sodomy, harboring no affection for mankind. Predominantly, he is invoked by male disciples to induce women to love them. The price of this induced love is infertility. The women affected will not bear the man's children and may even become barren. Zephyr is also known for his love of beauty and luxury. He can often be found indulging in lavish feasts and parties, enjoying the finer things in life. This demon sounds a little bougie. However, Zephyr's true power lies in his ability to manipulate emotions. Not only does he have the power to make women fall in love with men, but he can also incite feelings of jealousy, hatred, and anger in those around him. This power makes Zephyr a dangerous adversary, as he can turn friends against each other or cause chaos and destruction with just a flick of his wrist. He is also known for being quite cunning and manipulative, often using his charm to get what he wants. But despite his sinister reputation, Zephyr is not all bad, apparently. He is said to be fiercely loyal to those he considers friends and will do anything to protect them. He also has a deep love for music and is known for his beautiful singing voice. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Zephyr is his seemingly contradictory nature. On one hand, he is a powerful demon with the ability to manipulate emotions and cause chaos. On the other hand, he has a love for beauty and music, showing that even the most evil beings can have a softer side. Zephyr is a complex and multifaceted demon with a range of abilities and characteristics. He may be feared by many, but there's no doubt that he is a fascinating figure in the world of demonology. Zephyr's personality initially appears self-absorbed, showing discontent when events do not favor him. Nevertheless, he acknowledges this flaw and offers apologies for his early behaviors. He's recognized as a confidant of the demoness Lilith. Zephyr is particularly fond of beguiling women, and per their request, he can transform his form to that of their desired man. Through Zephyr, one can achieve the companionship of another female or conjure a succubus's shadow form via dream sorcery. Some sources suggest that Zephyr attempts to seduce men, while others indicate that he provokes love between men and women. Utilizing dream sorcery, Zephyr aims to seduce a woman deemed suitable to be his wife. Zephyr also has a talent for magic, specializing in illusion. He is knowledgeable in alchemy, works as a military scientist, spy, troubadour, merchant, and an assassin. I'd be scared if I saw this demon because what can't he do? And finally, the first and the most formidable among them, Baal. Originally belonging to the ranks of highly regarded angels, Baal participated alongside Lucifer in the Heavenly War. Following this celestial conflict, he was expelled with his rebel companions into the chasm that subsequently evolved into hell. According to folklore, Baal was once an angel who fell from grace due to his pride and rebellion against God. He was cast out of heaven and sent to rule over the underworld, where he became the powerful demon we know today. Baal is often described as a fierce demon with 3 heads, one of a toad, another of a cat, and the last one of a human. This physical appearance makes him stand out among other demons and has been the subject of many stories and legends. Baal has the power to make those who summon him invisible, and his eerie presence is marked by a hoarse voice. Despite his fearsome reputation, Baal has also been known to be a patron of artists and writers. It is said that he can inspire creativity and bring success to those who seek his guidance in their creative pursuits. In some traditions, Baal is also associated with protection and can ward off evil spirits or curses. It's believed that wearing an amulet or talisman with his symbol can provide a shield against malevolent forces. However, summoning Baal is not without his dangers. He must be approached with caution and respect, as he is known to possess great power and knowledge. Failure to show proper reverence and control during a summoning can result in disastrous consequences. Despite this, many still seek out Baal for his abilities and knowledge. His power over invisibility and protection make him a valuable ally to those who are willing to take the risk of summoning him. But like all demons, Baal is ultimately bound by his own nature and desires. It's important to remember that he is not inherently good or evil, but simply a being of immense power with his own motivations and objectives. He's the king ruling over 66 legions of demons. Baal has the power to make those who summon him invisible, and his eerie presence is marked by a hoarse voice.
Number 3, the red-faced demon Sixtas. Probably one of the most terrifying entities to appear in the Insidious franchise. The red-faced demon is the one who takes and possesses Dalton in the first Insidious movie. While not always the main demon and supernatural threat of the franchise, I would say he's up there, as he is the main antagonist of the first film and is vanquished after returning in Insidious the Red Door. What makes Sixtas so scary is that he's an entity that resembles the devil, who literally scares the mediums that Josh consults in an effort to get back his son and understand what is happening to him. Besides that, this is a demon who takes people and severely mistreats them while they're captured, while possessing them in the waking world, using their physical forms to carry out unspeakable evil acts. He also is shown shedding his skin and has extremely sharp claws, like literally spends just time off sharpening those claws. To me, there has always been something deeply upsetting about demons who can possess you and make you do horrible things in the waking world. The feeling of losing control to the point where you're forced to do things you know you would disagree with, all while not even being aware of really what you're doing, because you're locked away in some like hellish realm being tormented while not even getting to know what Sixtas is using your body to do. All of that's pretty horrifying, I'd say. I have never been a fan of possession when it comes to horror movies. I don't like possession in real life, but in movies I'm like, that's terrifying. I don't really understand why Sixtas comes and takes people so that they can move into the real world through them, but like many demons out there, it probably has to do with the fact that they want to feel greater than they are. They enjoy causing harm to others and feeling like they exist on the physical plane. It gives them a sense of control. I feel like many demons, like people, just want to be seen, and so they kind of lash out. But then again, demons like Sixtas are also frightening because, unlike people, they can't really be like reasoned with. Ed and Lorraine could even end up taken by Sixtas themselves if they attempted to come after the demon for the harm they had caused the Lamberts. In Insidious, it seems like no one really wants to have to deal with this demon, even those that are tasked with the job of doing so as experts, which I get. I don't think I'd even be able to accept or consider a job like that. It's honestly so frightening.
Number 2, Beleth, a king of Down Under. No, not Australia, you comedians. Hell. Out of today's entire list, he probably commands the most demons out of anybody. Ready for this? 85 leagues. Personally, I wouldn't be able to handle that kind of responsibility. I'm barely able to command my own life as it is. He tends to go by a couple of different names though, such as Beleth, Beleth, and Beleth. Very fond of alliteration, I see. When summoned, he originally appears as a terrifying dark knight on a horse. He is accompanied by a cacophony of music, and presents himself as scary as possible to test the conjurer. If the summoner is not deemed courageous, yeah, you're in for a lot of problems. Also, and once again, do not summon demons, but if he decides you are strong enough, he'll be kind to you. But only if the conjurer is holding a hazel wand and draws the summoning triangle to the south, to the east, and upwards. He's also pretty judgy, so if you look like a slob, all bets are off. While summoning him, one must wear a silver ring on the middle finger of the left hand to protect themselves from his fire-breathing abilities. Speaking of that fiery stuff, his overall abilities include the capability to throw fireballs and hellish explosions from his hands and mouth that can incinerate angels and can create large crimson fire dragon heads, which on impact can incinerate or explode any opponent. Oh, the pyromaniacs out there want more. Who am I to deny? So Beleth has tried his dang best to emulate holy fire and couldn't recreate it perfectly, but has instead created a light yellow fire that manifests itself from the tendrils in the hands and forearms that pierce and burn any target, but keep a soul trapped in black crystals made with the ash that he can keep as a souvenir. Oh, and he can release needles from his hands with the same effects. By the way, any results from this power are irreversible unless you want to turn into Mr. or Mrs. Big Pile of Dust. I'd recommend avoiding that. He can also fire laser-like fire beams from his hands that are even more powerful than Hellfire, that can and will incinerate anything in its path. Definitely a Leo. Too much fire not to be. Oh, almost forgot. He is able to create weapons such as swords, daggers, spears, needles, and blades in his hands. All that fire and the ability to create weapons? No thanks. I can't imagine Ed and Lorraine wanting to go anywhere near someone that can impale you with needles from your hands. And so much fire.
Number 1, the Black Demon. This is the demon featured in the movie of the same name. In this story, the Black Demon is an agent of Tlaloc, an ancient Aztec and Mayan god that some other religions have classified as a demon as well. The Black Demon in the movie comes in the form of a giant shark, similar to a megalodon in appearance and size. One of the explanations that is posed in the film as to why this creature is here and what it's doing suggests that the Black Demon was actually sent by Tlaloc to attack as a result of negligence when it came to an oil rig out on the ocean whose company had basically done nothing to investigate or mitigate oil spills. If I were Tlaloc, I would probably be pissed too and send out the Black Demon to take revenge on humanity for all their greed and all the harm they've done to both the sea and the land. Needless to say, were Ed and Lorraine adrift on a dinghy out in the ocean and confronted by the Black Demon, I feel like it would be a pretty terrifying experience for them, despite their demonology experience. I mean, demons that can't be seen, but whose presence can be felt, who exist on another plane of existence, that's one thing. A demon who is literally a giant megalodon that exists in the real physical world is entirely another. We aren't just talking about being chased by ghosts here, we're talking about being hunted by a believed, mythical, but it apparently turns out real beast that exists beneath the ocean's surface. I think the other thing that has always frightened me about sharks is that they're straight up predators who exist in a world that we aren't really meant to occupy. The ocean is a deep and dark and mysterious place, and as much as I love swimming in the ocean and being in water in general, when we're in there we're completely out of our element. Unless I guess you have equipment, and even if you do sometimes, you aren't really prepared to be underwater for long periods. You can't move as easily, you can't see as easily where you're going, it's just frightening. And I feel like that is what gets me. You are fighting something that is in its element while you're out of yours. Add in the fact now this isn't just any old shark, but basically a megalodon who also has ties to the spiritual world with its connection to Tlaloc, and yeah, that is honestly some scary stuff.